Hello, in this video let us look at how to sketch the graph of the other three trigonometric functions, cosecant, secant and cotangent. So the first one is cosecant. Cosecant is 1 divided by sine, and so below is the picture for the sine. Now each time the sine turns to 0, we will be dividing by 0, and that's impossible. So where is that going to happen? Well, it will be here at 180, at 0, 180, and 360 again. So these would be the vertical asymptotes, the lines that our graph cannot cross. So here's one, this is the other, the third, and so on. This is a periodic function, so this will continue indefinitely. And the cosecant is 1 over. So whenever the sine is 1, 1 divided by 1 is 1. But if the sine is less, let's say sine is half, 1 divided by half is actually 2. So the graph is going to go up and be approaching our vertical asymptotes from both sides. So here's one piece, here's another piece, and this will continue like this forever. So the actual graph of cosecant is the red graph, not the blue. If we were to erase the blue, we would get, so just lose here. This is the graph of the cosecant. Now with a calculator, we can check that also. Here is the calculator, and let us put in 1 divided by sine, which is the cosecant. So let's, here it is. And that's the same exact picture that we have. That's this piece, this is this piece, and that's that. And to see how that is similar to what we had, we can also add the graph of the cosine, of the sine. So here, once again, here's the sine, that's the first picture, and then using the sine, we will get the cosecant, which is 1 over sine, and here is the picture. The first one is the sine, just like we drew, and then bouncing off of it is the cosecant. So it's exactly the same process that we have used to generate the picture of the cosecant. Now the secant is very similar idea. Secant is 1 divided by cosine. So we go to the cosine picture. Here's the cosine, and each time cosine turns to 0, we are dividing by 0, and that's impossible. So we're going to get the vertical asymptote. So here's the vertical asymptote, here's the vertical asymptote, here and here. And once again, when the cosine is 1, 1 divided by 1 is also 1. But as the cosine gets smaller, the 1 divided by smaller number is actually bigger. So it bounces off and gets larger like this, just like the cosecant. So here is the picture of the secant. Once again, if we remove the blue lines, we will only be looking at the picture of the secant. So with a calculator, let's check and see if that is what we have. So we'll keep both pictures. Cosine is first, and then off of it, we will use the cosecant. 1 divided by cosine is cosecant. Now here is the picture for the cosine coming first, and then bouncing off of it is the secant. And we can see exactly the same diagram. In the middle, here is our first piece, then here, and so on. So that's how to come up with a picture for the cosecant, so for the secant. And the last one is the cotangent. Cotangent is 1 divided by tangent, and that is the same as, since tangent is sine over cosine, cotangent is that same ratio flipped. So this is cosine divided by sine. So whenever the sine turns to 0, and the sine was 0 here, 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 and here, these would become our vertical asymptotes. So at negative 180 is a vertical asymptote, at the 0 is a vertical asymptote, at 180 is a vertical asymptote, and then through the middle is the and through the middle is our graph of a tangent, and 1 over it again flips all the values, and so instead of going like this, like a tangent, the cotangent is going in the opposite direction, like this. And here is again the same picture. So this is the picture for the cotangent, and it's also periodic, and it will continue like this forever and ever and ever. So here is the visual with the calculator. Let's look at the clear all of that, and we have 1 divided by tangent, which is cotangent, and here's the picture. And it's exactly the same as what we have. Our window goes from negative 360 to 360, so this is 1 rotation around the circle in positive and negative direction. So here's 1 rotation, just like what we have. At 0 it's approaching from the top, at 180 it's approaching from the bottom, and then the picture continues. So this is how to come up with the picture for the secant, cosecant, and cotangent using the functions that they are made of. And that's it for this video. If you have any questions on anything, please let me know. Thanks for your time. Take care.